So today's project, need to put some tunes on this truck. 2004 Chevy Avalanche. It's the newest to my collection. Not really a collection enough. I keep selling them and then kind of upgrading up. But anyways, I need tunes on it. It has a Pioneer radio singled in, and I'm not a fan of it. It's pretty tacky in the truck. I mean, as you can see, it's just no frills, no Bluetooth. Pioneer, the basic of the basic model. Probably the ones that you just get at Walmart for cheap with like 4 speakers. It doesn't really sound good. It could be the speakers that they got in here, or it could just be that this radio just doesn't have no oomph on it. But either way, this needs to go. And you know, I want something fancier with Bluetooth and Android Auto, all that good stuff. So let's show you what I got. So these are the options I got. This is the Alpine one. This was in my Ram 1500. Served me pretty well. It's actually a pretty decent radio, but the only issue I just did not enjoy with it was equalizer was not as good as I prefer on them, just the customization features. And then also the USB. So if you're familiar with this type of radio, there's an issue where the USB will drop out when you plug in your phone to it. I got tired of dealing with it. The solution that I did notice, and it actually worked for a while, was actually plugging the USB cord directly into your phone. But then the issue with that is that you either have to plug it C or plug it the Lightning. So if you got to switch your phone, you have to rip everything out and just go directly into here. If you try to plug an extension, it's not going to work. So yeah, this thing is a little frustrating. So might not be using that. And then the other option was, is this Kenwood one. So now this is the Kenwood DMX47S, and I'm pretty sure this is the way I'm going to go. And the reason for it is it has the Android mirroring, which I like, especially when I'm parked and I have to sit around for a while waiting on something. You know, watch your phone on there. That's kind of nice. The sound is supposed to be better customizations with the EQ. Doesn't have that USB cable issue. So yeah, that's what I think we're gonna go with. So now I got everything hooked up, and I will kind of try to explain this the best I can, because this is a little tricky. There's not a lot of information on this. So this is for the 2004 Chevy Silverado, and this kind of will apply for a lot of different vehicles. I went with this kit, which if I could find it, it's the Soch, whatever kit it is. I don't recommend using them. The instructions are complicated, and I'm not even sure if this is going to work properly, but it may work. So we'll see. So pretty much they give you a lot of options, but they don't give you a lot of explanation. So as you can see, you got key 1, key 2, you got this 3.5 millimeter jack. You have these wires, and you see I got some of the cut. Number one, if you buy this, the instructions don't come in English, so you have to go to their website and get it. And then even when you go to the website and look at it, there's a lot of questions that you're gonna have that's not answered. Well, let me explain. So this is the GM200SW. There's also a lot of different ones for different vehicles. This is so you can get your steering wheel controls. If you buy this kit, it has everything you need to hook up the radio, plus what you need to get the steering wheel controls in. Now, depending on your radio, things are different. So this is the Alpine one, and if you look at the Alpine one, see if I get that in here, you see you have the provisions for the mic and the remote. So in this case, if you was to install this adapter, this right here would go in right over here, and that's it. You don't have to use any of these key 1 or key 2. You would just plug that in, and then the ground, you could junction it into the harness for the radio, or just attach it to somewhere on the chassis. In this case, I just junctioned it into the wires, the black wire on the radio, and you could do the same thing with any other radio. So that's for the Alpine. Now for Kenwood, I think Pioneer and another one, and it kind of says it on their instructions, this does not work for those radios. So in the back of the radio, you have the one for the mic, and this is for actually audio video in, which is kind of weird because you have those over here, but hey, whatever. This is going to get ignored. So the way it's going to work is you're going to still do the ground doesn't change, and then key 1, which is the brown wire, goes into your remote control, or the blue, light blue and yellow wire. So if you have a light blue and yellow wire, and so if you have a light blue and yellow wire, it goes into the key 1 just like so. And I still got to crimp it because I didn't finish it. The ground, which is the black wire from this box, or the wire from this box, goes into here, and that's it. These two get ignored. Now, when you look at the instructions, and this is why this kit is kind of a pain, because like I said, these are not in English. You have to cut the according wires. So in this case, we're going with a Kenwood, so we have to cut the blue and the green. You just splice them, cut them like that, and that's it. Whatever your radio is, and if you look on the instructions on the website, you'll cut whatever you need. Some radios, you just cut this one. So that's all you do. You just cut them. I'll probably put a little piece of tape on it just to make sure that, you know, they don't touch or short out. That's pretty much how you hook it up and how complicated it could be. Now, for Kenwood, and this is another reason why I'm going with this radio, we all know the parking brake bypass. Well, for the Alpine, you have to buy one of these adapters. You get them on eBay, and I think it's like pulse sensoring, and then you have to wire them in there. That's their option for Alpine. Kenwood's actually very simple. All you do is you take their parking brake switch, ground it out to the radio, done. All I did was just take an eyelid, screwed it up here nice and tight, and that's it. You're done. So pretty simple. Kenwood's a lot easier. Alpine's a little more complicated, and if you're using this kit, get on the internet, read the instructions, and even when you read it, hopefully this explanation that I went over make it a little easier for you. So now let's get to the vehicle. So we got the emergency brake on, steering wheel's put lower. So let's pop this thing off and hope we don't break this cheap plastic. Good, didn't break. These should be 8s. Nope, definitely not. 7, 6. 7. Yeah, definitely a 7. A little bit overkill, but that's what I got. Now you're probably saying, why did I order another installation harness? Well, there's a really good reason for that. First off, it doesn't have the controls for the radio, so for the steering wheel. So I want to make sure I got that. All right, so let's unplug this, which I didn't need to order this, so that could go back to Amazon. It could save me a couple of bucks. Let's get this right out over here. Now, I noticed that this is tied into something, and if I'm not mistaken, I think you have to tap into a fuse. So that's fine. We'll see how the other radio works. If not, then we could just easily tap that in. But for the sake of getting all this stuff out the way, let's cut it. And this is the power, in case I didn't mention that. All right, so we got this thing out. We got the new one plugged in. Have all the cables plugged in like I talked about. Remember, brown wire, which is key 1, goes into the blue and yellow on the Kenwood radios, and it's different from anywhere else. But as you can see, we'll fire it up. All right, agree. Everything seems to work. Of course, I can't play the sounds or anything like that because of copyright and all that stuff. But I will say, pressing the steering wheel buttons, let's go to source. Steering wheel seems to work. Everything looks to be working fantastic. My phone's synced up to it. And yeah. So if we want to, we can turn the volume up through the steering wheel control. So that was easy if you know what you're doing, and if the instructions were a little clearer. I actually had to go on a couple of forums and just get clarity on that. But what I'm not understanding is this red cable. I've read about this. I guess I don't need it, so I'm just gonna delete on it. So it's fine. As far as the USB, I think I'm probably gonna just run it through the ashtray or coin tray, because I don't smoke. But just run it through there and just have that readily available so I could plug the radio or plug my phone in as B. We'll see. I know some people have actually drilled this out and ran the USB through here and make it really clean and nice. I'm not that fancy, so let's put this back together and I'll show you the final result. All right, bunch of time spent off camera, but kind of show what I've been up to. So, had to run the microphone, which goes through here, disconnected the gauge, which is the 7mm, pop this out, pulled this cover out, and I got it running right up here. It's tucked out of the way. It's actually not too terrible. I like to, when I do the radios, I like to put them over here because, just my opinion, that's going to be the best audio listening. Anywhere else, it's going to be in the way or it falls off. I tuck it right over here. Works pretty good. I know a lot of people like to put it over here, and I've seen some really cheap ways of doing it. Our USB, just ran it to the back. I'm just going to have it come through the glove box, and the reason being is because my phone, I could run the USB connection and just mount it right up here. This is out of the way, don't have to do no cutting and modifying. Like I said, probably in the future I might look into getting the adapter so I could pop it right over here. I think that would look pretty good. But other than that, we're good, we're ready to go. Kind of perfect time to actually clean things up and just make sure that it's nice and neat. Now that red wire did go over here. Looks like they used a tap. Looks pretty clean the way they did it, so I just unplugged it, left it. The radio turns on and off and even in accessory mode with no issue, so maybe that adapter required it, but this one did not, which is fine. So very happy with that. This seems to be chiming. The steering wheel controls work perfectly, so we're off to a good start. Well, off to a good finish. So let's put it back together and wrap this up. All right, so we're back up and running. It is hot. Yeah, so here's how it's gonna look. As you can see, the microphone right in here, ran all the way into the dash, two right over here, and as you can see, we're using the Alpine. So I had to use the Alpine primarily because the Kenwood, there's something wrong with it. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. The digitizer is acting up, it was glitchy, so it's fine. This was pretty simple. The only wire that we had to cut instead of the orange and green, and I'll correct it on the screen, I think it was just the green one we had to cut. So we had to reconnect the orange one, and then the key 1, key 2, you don't have to plug those in. You just plug in the 3.5mm jack into the back of this one. So pretty simple. But as you can see, our controls work. We got the seek source to switch to whatever. So pretty simple, pretty good. Pretty simple, but using that Scotch kit, you might want to reconsider. And if you do end up with it, hopefully this video helps you how to figure it out. So thanks for watching, and we'll go fix something else.